You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So that's how.
We're back to radio. We're
Yeah,
back
I think
on
that's
the radio.
the main thing is when you have that connection. It's not about. It's always have to be about who you know and who they know that can walk you through the doors
Yes.
to get you in. You know what I'm saying? But I was looking like, wow, well, what they do? How everybody gets easy? We gotta work like slaves, and they get the easy pass. Like you just pass right on through.
That's what I was saying about your trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Ask questions. You never
Yeah.
know who is a phone call away and say, you know what, you worked on film. I just had this one question. How long should a trailer be? Period.
Yeah. And we had no clue. And then from there, I was just like, let me look on YouTube. Let me type up these shows because I'm doing something similar like them. Let me see how long their trailers
Yeah,
are.
that's
Now, because I see their trailers 5 minutes, 4 minutes, they can do that because they already
They're
established.
Right,
But then when I go back to when they first started, I had to look at Housewives of Atlanta. Their trailer was like 1 minute, 41 seconds. And everything just went so fast and it made you like, yo, I want to watch this joint. So we had to put something exciting in there to draw the attention. So I said, oh no, so it was really the truth. But at the same time, when you have your own project and that's your baby, and you have a set budget for it, you don't want nobody telling you. And I really had to apologize to my producer because we crashed all the time because I didn't want him telling me what I envisioned, what I created, and then you brought it to life. That's not what I wanted, but I had the vision. If you're directing and producing, you have a way of creating and being a visionary. Like you see it and you write everything down. But I really, like you said, you're not there yet. You're trying to come into a director's lane, and I was just sitting like.
Listen, the hardest
But
thing sometimes the hardest thing is to take sometimes constructive criticism.
Is it?
I'll say, and I'm going to put it on the air, Mel. Shout out to Mel Williams, my mentor. He was teaching me theater, acting, everything from the time I was 13, and I wanted to bring him in on a project. And I'm just going to be honest with you. He came in, some things didn't go like it should have, and I'm going to say, it was partly my fault, partly my cast fault, but he saw some things, and Mel shared it with me. Now, I took constructive criticism with my acting. You know what I mean? When I'm on stage, you tell me I shouldn't do it this way, I should do it that way. But this is something that, I wrote and I put up, and a lot of people like.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And he came at me, he said, you need to do this. This was bad, this was terrible, and this, that, and the other. And I came back and was like, well, no, not really. It's because of this. And well, maybe you thought about it that way because of that and this, that, and the other. I started making excuses.
Yeah.
And I was building excuses on top of excuses. And he basically said to me, and he said, Dale, you don't know the truth. I lied to you. And you put up whatever you want. He said, but you know me, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to tell you the truth. Shout out to Mel Williams, has always given me the God's honest truth. And the thing is, the hardest thing to deal with sometimes is constructive criticism. Now, we do have to recognize there is a fine line also. But like, you were saying that you were getting feedback that you need to cut your trailer down in 2 minutes. And I told you that I was told my one sheet and it was trash. I was just told, and I'm sorry, we were talking off the air and just as well as we're talking on the air, talking about different things. And I'm just being real. And like I said, I keep it 100. I had a very prominent person that was willing to be in my corner, and she still is, and I'm still working on some things. But she straight up told me, she said, hey, your one sheet is trash. You need to get your name off of it. You need to get your company name off of it because you ain't selling you're selling your film.
Yes.
And you need to put everything, what's necessary that you think is going to sell your film and get you off there. Unless you want to put a bathing suit and pose. She's like, So, and to me, I'm sitting there like what? I always did that. But sometimes just because you do something the same way all the time does not necessarily mean it's so.
Exactly, and you have to be ready for the next level, and that needs to come off if you're ready to make the next level.
Exactly, and that's basically sometimes, like I said, that constructive criticism and
it's tough. It's tough
because I was thinking like you taking over my project, and it wasn't even that, but that's how I was feeling. But then I had to be like, you know what? I'm just hands to him, and I'm just gonna go in there, sit in the background. And you know what's crazy? He said, when you don't need to be in the scene or letting people know like who you are. It'll come naturally. And it's, I just pretty much probably want people to know like I created this. I'm creating. I was like, you know what? He right. Let me sit in the back. When I learned that everything that he told me and what he was doing, everything was falling in place. When I was doing it, not so good.
I think a lot of, like I'm working on a project right now. It's actually a cartoon animation, and I'm one of the writers on the project, but I'm also on the creative team. So we've been going through the whole process. Like right now, I'm working on the treatment. I did the one sheet, like I did all of that stuff, and now it's and the script, and so now it's coming into the hands of people who can make it move. Now the money is coming. So now it's like we're getting those phone calls like, hey, listen, think about changing this, you know, I was thinking about this, maybe. And my thing is, you've done it before.
Right.
So my best bet is to
Listen.
listen to
Yeah.
what you're
Yeah,
saying.
absolutely.
If we're saying, okay, this is the direction we're going, and in order for them to bite, this is what we need to do, let's do it.
Yeah.
Because my thing is, I've been in so many different scenarios where I'm a creator first. So I know what I see. I'm a visionary, so I see it. I see it before I write it. So when I go to, if I bring a director onto a project that I'm doing, I'm giving this person creative license to take my script and to chop it up to make the story come to life, but in its best light.
See, I didn't know anything about that until I got with my producer. He's actually one person, producer and director. So I didn't know any of that. But when handing over something that you didn't did and you want to see, it's just like
It's
I
hard.
mean, you don't know how it's gonna come out. But every time he sat down with the people and sat down with the editors, and they would chop it up and he would send it to me. I'm like, yo, it's crazy. I've never seen nothing like this before. So now I feel at ease for the first year of my life doing it because I see he can bring it to life. So I just shut up and I just be quiet. Whatever you need, what you need on set. You need the cue cards, you need this. So send me Lenora's scene and where they're going to be at because I gotta figure out where I'm going to film them. If she's on probation, we're going down to the probation office. I would have thought of that. I'm like, oh yeah, let's just make it out the office, and that vision is totally somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, nah, I ain't trying to be no director. I'm the executive producer, but I ain't trying to be all these things. So now I see it. I zip my lips. We go on set. And do your thing. I'm over here. You need me. You know, hit the walkie-talkie, and I just respond back. But I don't do nothing else. I know how to take it now. And when he say give constructive criticism, I be like, okay. Oh yeah, I understand. I see it now. Ain't no back and forth or no argument, but you still want to clash a little bit. It could be about a cast member, or if you want to switch somebody up doing something, I might not want it to be like, but we got to work together. You know what I'm saying? So we still want to come out.
Our editor gave us our first pass, and that's basically the first draft of the movie, like, you know. And so I'm sitting watching the first pass, and I'm making all these notes. I mean, I had a page, and I don't know, Sharon, I had a lot of notes. And then the editor, instead of
Every time you had a lot.
I still got notes. I have a lot of time. No, I don't have any notes right now.
No,
But
we're good.
we're good. So, but so when I gave the the editor my director's notes, instead of him contacting me, he contacted Sharon like, oh my gosh, I didn't think it was gonna be this many notes. He thought the film was finished with the product that he gave us.
He said he knew you were gonna come back.
Oh, okay. Right. Yes.
But I think and maybe in his eyes, I don't know.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, okay, well, look all right to me, Karen. You going to, and Karen must have kind of sent all the
Director's notes.
additional edits or whatever.
And I made it real simple. The
Scene
scene number, the
timing.
time on the timeline. Like,
So-
all you have to do is go straight to that timeline,
Yeah.
make that change, and
Do it.
yes.
Oh gosh,
yes.
I love it when it comes like that.
Yes.
So again, I'm like, okay, well, I don't know. I said, Karen said, well, does he think this is finished? I was like, I don't think he thinks it's finished. But it could be that maybe he's just trying to, you know,
The first pass,
first pass
the
of the
first
first film.
Mhm.
You know, he thought, you know, we should see it thinking.
Yeah.
So again, and for me, like I had this idea in my head,
Yes.
and I wanted to bring it to light. And I think the first encounter I had was the script issue. So
It was very wordy.
what I did was I kind of talked about the story, told the story
Okay.
verbally,
Mhm.
and then the loud was to write it, was to put it in script form. And so I'm thinking that he knew film script, so he was going to be a film script. So I get this finished script. This before casting any of that,
Mhm.
and a production team from New York, which is a pretty big production team, were filming this film in my house, and I've never seen anything like this as far as technical things.
Yeah.
They got
Cameras
there
and
must have been
everything.
30 people just assigned to moving things around and putting it back. That's how many people were in my house, and the lights all outside of my street. It was just amazing what I saw. And so I sit down with this man who owns this company, and he said, "I'm gonna give you some advice." He said, "The script is monologue-ish.
Mhm.
It's not written for film.
Mhm.
First thing you got to do is you got to fix the script."
Mhm.
I'm like, "What you mean? I can't pay somebody else to write the script.
Right,
What am I going to do?" So, he said, "Well, the first thing, that you can't use the script as it is now. That's the first thing."
Mhm.
And then he said, "But the good thing is that," he said, "now for distribution, it's so much easier than it used to be."
Yes.
Like he said, I sold this movie, a short film, in China.
Mhm.
And he said it was just amazing how fast it happened. So he was saying that right now, because of all the distribution channels that there are out there now, that it's a lot easier to put what you work into
It is.
distribution.
It really is.
So that was one key thing. And then but the major thing which dictated how we would proceed was that script. And that was like the first thing I'm thinking, okay, I told him the story. He's writing it. We're going back and forth. If I'm reading what he's writing, I'm saying, okay, yeah. But it sounded like the first scene, I'm like, well, it's 7 pages. I don't think that's right.
Yes.
And I'm like, but me as a newcomer, I'm just saying my opinion. I don't know if my opinion is the right. The first time I show it to somebody, and that's the first thing they said. I show it to somebody else. Is it the same thing?
And then came Karen Walmart.
And then came Karen. So I think it was Nakia, the first person.
Nakia
First person
Yeah.
who said it.
Yeah.
So Nakia was on set. He had the film companies in my house.
Yes.
So Nakia was the first person. He was like,
Too
I don't
long.
know.
Is it theater?
It's definitely a
different
different.
Yes. And me not knowing, I'm like, well, I instinctively I knew.
But yes.
But by me not having experience, and I'm relying on this person because I'm paying you to do this, you said, that's what you would do. So I'm thinking am I wrong? I don't know. And then the first person I sees it besides says the same thing that I said initially. So
It's great when you have
so that's how it evolved.
That's my point.
Yeah.
Get other eyes.
Yes.
Call.
Yes.
Make a phone call. Send them a text message. Send them an inbox if you know someone's doing what you're doing. Even, I'm telling you, the big name celebrities, and I don't know if you follow any reality stars on Instagram, inbox them. They would love inbox them and offer them something first, and then ask them for something. Right? Just like we do with God, right? We praise our God. We give our God our heart and our love and our. Then we ask. Same thing.
And the other thing was like, it's a feature film. Like, yeah, there's no way you're gonna get it done in 10 days.
Yeah.
That's the other thing.
Yes,
He said, no way you're gonna get it done. And I'm like, well, he's dealing. I'm like, well, what's your budget? He was like, my budget is $500,000 for a short. And I was like, oh.
I'm nowhere near
Right.
That's the only thing with
You gotta come up with
being indie. It's
Yes.
like everything's coming out of your pocket.
Absolutely,
You
yes.
want to get the biggest bang for your buck in
Yes.
a short amount of time.
Yes.
And that's what causes us to rush.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when we do it,
I'm working on Roman as we speak. Roman, we filmed. I was assistant director and production manager. Hey, Dwight Wilkins and Sid Beachman. Yes. Let me just say this. Speaking of Dwight, everything I know about film is because of him. I worked on all of his projects from year to year. I grew up pretty much learning and always being on his project. So Roman, we filmed in 2017. It hasn't come out yet. We are just now in the studio doing ADR work because the sound just wasn't right. The sound wasn't right. And so I just was in the studio yesterday doing ADR work on.
That was another thing he said.
Yes.
He said, most important is the sound.
Mhm.
Everything else you can work on in editing, but you need a good sound.
Well, it has to start in the beginning. Your
Sound,
production staff
Yes.
has to be, the
Sound
sound
has to be
and the
tight.
camera has to
It's
be
harder to
quality.
redo
It's
sound.
harder to redo it.
Yeah, because I'm going to say, when I was sitting in there with the panel, I'm trying to remember, World Funding, that was the panel that was up there, and it was a panel of women. One of the things that young lady asked me when I was discussing my film with her, and I was kind of like pitching, and since I finished my whole spiel, and she was like, "What kind of camera did you shoot with?" And I was like, "Let me let me reach out."
Yeah.
So I reached out, and when I told her what the film was shot with, she was like,
So how come you didn't know that already?
because I just didn't.
You weren't interested in knowing, like, I'm in
I'm
the
gonna say
business
she
of
wanted to
everything.
tell
I
the
know.
story.
Well, I'm gonna
Yeah,
tell you
story
to tell the
is
story. As long as that
wow.
DP was helping her with the story, you were good.
And this is the thing.
Yes.
I knew it wasn't a red camera,
Right.
but what I saw through the lens, I liked what I saw.
Okay. Yes.
I am looking into I'm getting ready to start taking editing classes.
Mhm.
But I honestly, I can't tell you a Canon from this one, from that one, from that one, because for me being just I'm not on a tech side. It's
Right.
more
Yeah.
like the side.
It's more like.
But I need to,
lens.
I
It's the
should,
lens.
the thing is, I wish that I did know,
Mhm.
because to be honest with you, when I couldn't tell her
Yes.
what camera was used, and this was just in the conversation, I just pitched the whole thing,
Mhm.
and she was like, "Oh wow, what kind of camera did you use?" And that was the excitement.
Yes.
And when I said, "Wait a minute, let me, check my," and when I came back to her, I was like, "Well, it was like, oh, okay." And then her conversation was over here.
Mhm.
Because
And
they
the
feel like they don't
excitement
really know the
it was
industry.
it was over. I lost her in
Yes.
just that moment. And when you're out there, you already know when you're out there, if your conversation is not knowledgeable, if it's not consistent, you're totally, shut down. And like I said, if you don't have certain things in order, certain things in place, and I try to share this information with people, it's certain things that's wanted in the industry. A lot of people say, "Well, I'm going to do it my way." There's no such thing as doing it your way.
Absolutely.
You cannot do things the way you want to do it your way in the industry, because they are, how could I say, they are standard, they are geared to look at things a certain way, to accept things a certain way. And if it's not that way, that's it. Your comments, I'm just saying, it was just, and I was shocked that he texted me back so fast. Shout out to Sean Chin. He is amazing, amazing with the cameras. That whole production team was amazing in doing. Have you seen it? But it's like, just in that brief moment, they'll shut you down, because it's a room full of people that are pitching. It's a room full of people, and that's not the only panel that is out there.
That's right.
And I'm doing this in between what I have to do for Sundance. I'm doing this in between. So this panel is only like lasting an hour, and I know I got to get to the next panel. So that, so their time is valuable, and they're there to pick up on a piece that they can pay you for, and they can capitalize off of.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So if you can't give them what they need right then and there, and they're talking to you, it's just like she said, you're one sheet, you're this, and she said other people are not really going to take the time like that. And I watched it, so when she was saying this to me on the phone, when she followed up with me later, it was great. But one of the things is that I need to be more knowledgeable about the tech stuff, and that's why I said I really want to go into the editing, so that I can learn more about the editing. I do editing, but with baby stuff, not with anything of the magnitude of a full feature film or anything like that. But it's also a thing where, how could I say, I try to remove some of my hats.
Absolutely. Yes.
You have to.
You had to.
You
You
know,
had to.
yeah. Because I had to do the same thing, especially when you go in the studio, like you said, for sound. We're there on Sundays. And it was like, I have to make sure that sound is cool. Sometimes you got the mind frame and experience to be like, you know what you want to hear, and you know how it's going to sound. But sometimes you you don't need certain music on certain parts of the song. You don't need whole song lyrics
Exactly.
on there. You can go with the instrumental.
Absolutely.
Get the same song, but the instrumental. Then when you know how to, you're gonna have to learn how to cut
Yes.
from the fast part to the slow
Yes.
part when it comes to the
Absolutely.
sad part.
Absolutely.
So it all is a
Absolutely.
difference.
Yes.
You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? And like when you said about a camera, your cameras are unique in their own little way.
Mhm.
And it's all about the lens that you have, and it's mainly about the person who's shooting.
Mhm.
And what angle you get, what size you get, because now
Absolutely.
we shot with our iPhones. And this is some of the, let me show you something that we shot with our iPhones. And this was like 2 years ago.
Mhm.
That's if the service come up. But we shot with him and people were saying like, well, he couldn't believe, he said, y'all did this?
Mhm.
And that's what they said at the network.
Well, I know a
And I
lot of
was just
people
like,
Work now.
Yeah.
have said that
Somebody
you
did a
use-
whole movie.
right, somebody
Oh,
did a
yeah.
whole movie off of
Somebody-
an iPhone.
Yeah.
I bought a lot of things off of Amazon, the whole package with the long stick with the light that you put your light thing, the one you put your camera on that you actually use for a phone and try everything on there for like $54, and one piece cost for like 4 things was like $100 and something. And you shoot just the same way, but you have to, that cameraman has to be steady and know exactly what they're doing. I had to have the little tripods that sits right here on the table, no bigger than this. Had to have my phone on there because I had to get the girl angle from this side while he get the other one. And I was just sitting there just like this. And she just walked past. And it came up clear as day, bright as day. If you have different types of phones, you could do it. Because he couldn't believe, he was like, y'all did this? Who else gonna do it?
The one thing you have to make sure is your cameras are compatible.
Yep,
If you're doing
yeah.
a 2 shot or
Everybody
3
that was
shot.
shooting
Yes.
with an iPhone because
Yes.
we shoot in 4K. And it's definitely how you shoot. Even with the Canon camera that we use,
Yes.
the high tech lens that costs $100, we had to invest in that.
Absolutely.
For our camera guy, it's not our camera, but it's his.
Yes.
But we had to
You have
invest
make
in
the
everything that he
investment for him.
needed. We had to buy the mic pole for him that he needed. We had to buy the silencer mic that he needed.
Yeah.
So we spent money on his camera, and it's not
His
even
equipment.
ours because he's shooting for us. So it's a whole difference. It's a whole difference. It's all about the lens.
And
Mhm.
the lens, and then the sound has to be consistent.
The sound has to be
consistent.
It
Yes.
has to be consistent.
Yes.
Mhm.
Throughout the whole.
Entire, or you're gonna get to some person's gonna be like,
What happened? Let me tell you what happened with Roman. What happened with Roman? Oh, go ahead.
The project I just did, called Assyria. Awesome, right?
The twins.
Awesome, right?
Twins.
Story was like yes, like let's go.
Mhm.
But our issue at the end, when it was all said and done, was the sound. So where we were like pitching or sending it to the different festivals and stuff like that, it's like okay, now we're like, ooh,
and
yeah,
that,
but
you
now
know,
it's done.
But
You know what
did
I
you?
mean?
But did you know the sound was an issue before you started sending that out?
When I was getting the clips, there was no, it didn't come across from my laptop. It didn't come across as if it was off. So when we did like a private screening,
Yes. Yes.
and that's when it was just like zoom, and it's like okay. So for me, I'm like okay, well let's go try and fix it. Let's work this out. So I understand that completely. But for me, with like everything that you're saying, from the lighting to the editing to everything, I think it's important that we get educated. Because so many people, because they're excited about a story,
Yeah.
they just run and they just shoot,
And it's not
and it's not industry
Right.
standard.
Right.
So here you are, you're putting out all this money, all this time, nobody's getting paid, but everybody's thinking, I just did a film. So now they're waiting for this indie film to come out, and then it never comes out, or it gets put on YouTube, or you put it in a theater, and it's a mess.
Right.
You know, then your films get hurt when somebody comes and they critique you
Right.
about what you've done.
right.
But it's like, don't rush it. Like, take the time
Because
to
it's going to
learn.
take time anyway, because you still have all the time in the world to shoot, to film. And I think our camera guy that we had, only reason why he had a camera is because he do videos. That's how he make his money. He shoots videos. So he knows the quality of the camera and how to shoot, what angle you gotta catch. He was telling us, y'all may have to just go down and bring it up if y'all want that scene to come when her introduction come on, when she come out. And I was just like, okay, cool. So we learned from him.
Yes.
So we knew about the quality of the camera. I was like, well, let's just go. He said, no, I don't have that lens because you want to shoot this in 4K, you got to boom. And we had to call, how much is it? Oh, 200 something. Okay, we got to get it.
But even with that, you said he did videos.
Mhm.
A person that shoots videos is not necessarily a person that does film.
Exactly, yeah.
So you're gonna get,
Oh,
you're gonna
thank you
get
so much.
different
Yes,
perspectives.
yes.
And it's
I'm
not
so
gonna
glad
be
you said
standard.
that,
Absolutely.
because the editor guy who we had, all he do is shoot videos. He's not our camera guy. He knows how to use a camera, but we didn't have him shoot, all he do is videos. So I had to tell my crews, I said, listen, you're gonna have to bear with him, regardless of if he's not available or not. He don't do movies, he don't do reality TV, and I kept saying in my head, he does videos. Is a difference when you're editing videos and editing the show. It's two different things. You're not going to get what you want. He's used to doing videos, so he know he's going to want to amplifier, the sparks. We don't need none of that. We just need him to edit into a story and put this sound. I said, listen, we don't even have to do the freaking sound. We got a studio that we can go to.
Yes.
We're gonna go add the music on there. Our last bit is this Sunday, but if he's shooting video, who makes you think? So you want our show to come out as a video?
Right.
Because it's two different things. So that's why he was getting tired and frustrated. That's a long route. He could do a video in a day. He can do a video in 4 hours. That's how he make his bread. Us coming to him is like,
Right.
so he knew
Right.
it was going to be a long night.
Yes.
Because getting there 9 o'clock, we're not leaving until 3, 4 in the morning, because
Right.
he got to get pumped to do that. He got to smoke his herb.
Mhm.
He got to get he can't work without a Mountain Dew.
Right.
He got to get sour patches, and we have to go buy all this stuff before we walk into the door. We have to text him, hey, Lou, what you want?
What you need, right.
It'll be a list. Sour patches, Mountain Dew.
Right.
So let me ask this
We
question.
can't go buy no weed.
All of us, I'm gonna say, we have faced many, challenges, with all of our different projects, actually sparking our companies, keeping them afloat. I know that you've been working for some time with your productions, and Karen, you've held that mic for so many years, for so many others, and you're doing your major projects. And the same with you, you have Coda. I didn't ask you, I need you to talk about Coda.
Okay, so, this started 10 years ago, and it started with the idea that I had, and I always had the idea that one person's child is another's, and where I realized that, where my grandchildren could afford a music lesson or acting lesson, there are other children who have desires and passions that parents, they could barely eat, much less go a Saturday afternoon and someone's gonna pay for them to have a dance class or a ballet class or buy an instrument for them. And the concept started actually just with musical instruments and music lessons, and it evolved. So we started working with our first group of kids, and I think it was the first year it was maybe 10 children. And most of the children that started or came stayed with us through high school. And some of them are very talented young people who've gone on and done a lot of different things. But our premise was that if they want it, I'm gonna give it to them. So that's how we started. We started out at rec centers, just kind of enlisting people, professionals to come in and to work with them because I couldn't. So that's how we started. I used what I had as far as opening, establishing a nonprofit and trying to secure funds to do all this stuff because again, it costs money. It costs money for violins and to get all these instruments. And over the years, I've kind of used my corporate, the company I work for, they have like match contributions. So if I put in $100, they're going to give me $100 match for that. So I use that. I use going out and just asking people for donations for the instruments, for the music, whatever they needed. And that's how we've kind of established Coda over the years. And it started with the musical, then it started with the chorus, the choir, and then we had the acting kids that were working on monologues. And we needed projects to include them. And we started working with Childhood's Lost with their stage productions. And so they did, I think we produced maybe 3 of Childhood's Lost stage productions. So we started doing that. We did the musical showcases until we got to 2017, 2018. And Carla and I determined, okay, we're going to do film. We're going to give them the opportunity to create their own film projects. This didn't start as, oh, we're going to do a film, we're going to put this film out there. We hadn't thought about distribution, we hadn't thought about festivals, nothing. The only goal was to have a project for them. It was all for them. It was for nothing else.
Train and develop them
Yes.
behind the camera.
It was
and
to
in front of-
let
yes.
them have the opportunity to do it, to learn and to do it. And that's how this whole film came about. And I had to tell people that, well, I'm not doing this for money, or we're not doing this for that. I hadn't even thought about distribution when the guy was telling me. I hadn't even thought about any of that because the whole focus was on the kids.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's how it started, and today it's still the focus. Is what are we going to do next? I'm not looking for people. I'm looking for executive director for the music piece now. We're still doing the same things.
And that's Children of the Arts.
Children of the Arts.
Children of the Arts.
Foundation.
Children of the Arts Foundation. It's an opportunity for children to enter into doing music, doing theater, doing film, vocal arts, and I know.
We now have a recording studio.
And now they have a recording studio.
So we want to have the ability to teach them how to produce and the technical piece of creating music. So we do have
That's awesome. You know how many teenagers would love?
Well, we have a studio. We don't have anybody in it using it, but we do have a recording studio.
That's an awesome opportunity. Don't forget that, people. That's CODA. So what I'm going to do is, well, first and foremost, there's a couple of questions that I wanted to ask because we kind of like ran over time. I'm not sure if you all are time pressed, but I do apologize. We got so involved in conversation. But I do want to ask because I know I've faced some obstacles, like I was saying before. What are some of the obstacles that you have faced in the industry in trying to get a product up as a woman of color?
Finances.
I
think that's all of us.
That's all of us.
We need the money.
And it's an illusion.
That's the number
People
one.
think you already have the money.
And
They
you
think
don't.
you have the
Because
money.
they see you doing it.
They see you doing it.
They all
without
like,
the money.
if you put up a post on
Yes.
Facebook or
Yes.
Instagram,
Yes.
and I don't care who you post with, oh, you get into the bags. It's
Yes.
like,
No.
Or they,
Yeah.
hey, what's your
Business
budget?
to run
Whenever
together.
you're like,
My
everything
budget
is
is
what's
my
your budget?
paycheck.
I don't have
That's
it's my
my
paycheck.
budget.
That's,
You know, I use my last $10 to put
Yes, exactly right, yes.
And you know
No,
what's
I
crazy?
actually had to borrow the $10 on
And
it.
you know what's crazy?
Yes.
When I first came up and started doing the show, because back in 2015, I was like, you know, I'm gonna find something else that I'm creative of. I'm gonna go ahead and do this soap thing. Let me see how this work out. That wasn't no extra money for me. That's funding what I love to do because that money don't go to me. And little do they know, I said, dang, okay, this just soap. All right, let me see if I can make the body wash. I go on YouTube, how to make body wash, how to make scrub, how to make stuff for your hair.
Yes.
I said, all right, maybe this could be something, you know, but at the same time, everything I sell out of, I still have to use my money from my paycheck inside to rebuy everything else because I have to produce so many soaps anymore.
People don't understand that the struggle is real. Like my kids know I eat, drink, and sleep DEU. I'm always doing something for DEU. I do have a job, you know what I mean? But that job pays for my bills
Yes.
sometimes.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Because, you know, sometimes it's over. You know, the bills are over and you have to make ends meet or what have you. But, you know, every now and then, and I tell people all this time, y'all can make fun about it, y'all can think about it however you want to, but I will be your Lyft or your Uber driver.
Oh, listen,
I
I
have
just signed
met
up.
so many
I
people
just signed up.
that have had connections as well,
just doing.
Driving them around.
Driving
and
them
chit-chat
around.
with them.
and chit-chatting with them. So, you know, on my off days and what have you, you know, some of these productions that you see go up and things like that, that's Uber and Lyft money. And I'm not shy to talk about it because, you know, it's a difficult thing, but I'm gonna tell you, it's a blessing, you know, that the opportunity is there because I'm able to do so much with production
Yep.
with that, you know what I'm saying? And, I remember it was one day that I said I was gonna cut and I was just gonna go home, because, I mean, I'm a fanatic with it, because I know the more money that I have, the more that I can, you know, do with it and get, you know, our productions and stuff together. And I said I was gonna quit. I was done for the day, but I got right. I was like, all right, this is the last one, I'll take it. And then when I swiped and I realized that it was for New York,
Wow.
I was like, I'm not really ready to take no ride to New York, but
Yeah.
I said, you know what, I'm gonna just go ahead and do it, and I'm gonna rock out. It's gonna be the end of my day. So wind up, I popped the trunk. You know, she put her bags in the bag. She gets in the bag, and here it was, an executive producer for a major network.
Wow.
I had her ear for 2 hours.
Wow.
Yes.
And I mean, we still in contact. It's television, and I tried to do too many things at one time. I was working on the play production. I was fixing things for Have You Seen Her? I was getting prepped for Witness, and I was working on another TV series that was going on. And I had a TV series that I wrote a while ago, Face of the Life, you know, that I was going to put up. So I didn't have it ready right then and there to get it,
Okay.
which means all of those 4 or 5 projects that I was working on, I would have to include that with, you know, revamping that for television. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you just get so overwhelmed with so many different things. And like I said, the lady at ATL was telling me I need to do this and fix this. And then I'm talking to her, and she was like, well, I need you to send me this and I need you to send me that. But lo and behold, like I'm just saying, is that, you know, doing Uber, and I have met so many people that are in the industry. I've met actors that have become a part of my productions that I didn't know they were a part of other people's productions, and they've been in the industry. It's just that I didn't know, you know. So I'm just saying all of that to say is that people look at our posts and they see what we got going on. We got this project coming up and that project coming up and everything, but they don't realize that it's a financial struggle,
sacrifice.
and it's a sacrifice.
Yes.
People don't understand the sacrifice that we make financially. You know what I mean? I can't get that purse right now because I need to pay the theater to lock this production down. So I can't walk around with $150 shoes.
Exactly, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, you know, outside of you know, some of the struggles that we face, because we all face the same struggles. I do want to say I thank you all for coming on the show. I thank you for what you contributed to myself and contributed to DEU. I truly appreciate it. You know, as you all know, as I said, it goes back. It's not just recent. It goes back, and it goes back some time, and I appreciate it. And hopefully, someone else that's watching the show will recognize that it's okay to be there for someone else. It's okay to share with someone else. And there's room for all of us, you know, to have opportunities out here. And say to people all the time, if you have a question or anything, you know, feel free to ask me. You know, I just ask that you be a humble sponge and not, you know, come at me, because that's like a turn off. And one other thing I forgot to do, and I'm gonna have to do it a little differently. I was gonna have y'all call in to win the tickets, but I'm gonna do it a little bit differently. And I'm gonna give a timeline on it. So I'm gonna say the first, because I'll see it on my page, the first person that reshares Diva Entertainment Unlimited Productions LLC after 3 p.m. will win 2 tickets to see Craig McLaurin comedy, which is going to be taking place the second Sunday at Club Risque.
He's a funny man.
He's a funny man.
Yes.
So I'm going to say it again. The first person that shares Diva Entertainment Unlimited Productions LLC will receive 2 free tickets to Craig McLaurin comedy, which is the second Sunday in August. It's a phenomenal show, phenomenal lineup. He's a phenomenal person. He's an awesome person. He is a very giving person. He's a dedicated person, and he's real and he's down to earth. And shout out to his wife April. She is a phenomenal woman. They are I'm just going to say they are a phenomenal dual team. And you know, when people talk about different marriages and different things, I'm just saying that, you know, they're an awesome team.
Yes,
You
they
know,
are.
and You and your husband, listen.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome teams, you know, and that's what we need all together. It's just teamwork. If people start thinking about, you know, teamwork opposed to individual, because the bottom line is, you know, when I go and I sit in that room to pitch my film, I'm going to have a team.
Yeah.
I have to have a team.
Yes.
They're not going to invest in just one person.
Right.
Because one person can't do everything.
Right.
When you think you don't need people, you need people.
Absolutely,
People
yes.
need people. All right. So I'm gonna go around the table. I just want you to just speak, reintroduce yourself briefly, and just let them know how they can get in contact with you and how they can, you know, follow you to help support your project.
Okay. Karen Waller Martin, and it's real simple. I'm Googleable. I tell people this all the time. There's millions of Karen Martins, thousands of Karen Wallers, but there's only one Karen Waller Martin, and I'm Googleable. You'll find me on all social media.
I kind of follow that too.
Yes.
So Ontaria Kim Wilson, there is
Yes.
but one. There's
Yes.
only, I found out some other Ontarias. It's Ontario Wilson, but it's Ontaria Kim Wilson. It's,
Yes.
again, social media, Ontaria Kim Wilson, that's on all platforms. I'm looking at the mic like I'm looking into a camera.
Yes. With the
There.
Yes.
And I'm also Googleable as well. Googleable, that's a new word.
Googleable.
Googleable?
Yes.
Googleable.
I'm Sharon Battle, and goodness, you can Google COTA, COTA, and if you want to know about COTA, Children of the Arts, you will be able to find it that way. Our website is childrenofthearts.org. You can find me on social media as COTA My Way or Sharon Battle.
I'm Yakeesha Walker. You can find me on all social media, Yakeesha1, and then the Real Lives of Philadelphia. And also, I'm Googleable as well. And on Facebook too.
Yes.
So,
And you know what? I didn't even think about that until you mentioned it, Karen. But you know what? You're right.
Yes.
I'm Googleable.
Googleable.
Yes.
That is a new word. I like
Yes.
that.
Yes.
I am Googleable.
Yes.
Googleable.
Yes.
Cool.
Googleable.
All right. Under Deeva Gordon is DEEVA
Yes.
Gordon, and also under Deeva Entertainment Unlimited Productions LLC. Once you know hit that button, it'll come up. And also those of you that are listening on the radio, if you want to check in on the show, you can also type in the Deeva Show, and it will come up with the YouTube link, because this is going to be on my YouTube page, which is DEU_Productions LLC, just as well as Door Radio. So you'll be able to check it out on both channels on YouTube. So I want y'all to make sure that y'all follow up and check that out. Hopefully y'all reshare, like I suggested earlier, and I'm not gonna get that information again. If you want to hear the information again, you got a little time before 3 o'clock, you can go on YouTube. So you make sure that you can follow us on YouTube and find out what I said and how you can win the tickets. Again, I'm going to thank my panel for coming in. I appreciate you giving your time, and I appreciate the conversation and everything that you've done for me. I'm going to let them go, and I'm going to let you all go. And hopefully you enjoyed the show. I'm on every second and fourth Thursday from 12 noon to 2 p.m. on Door Radio, the Deeva Show. Make sure that you tune in. I appreciate all of you. Love, peace, and Gary Grease. This is Deeva Show, and I'm out.
Yay!